I spent the last 24 hours turning a pretty standard rice bowl into something you'll be making over and over again, featuring the wagyu of pork and a simple broth that serves as the foundation of so many great Japanese dishes. So let's get going, because today we're making Welcome. So today we're making katsudon, which is a Japanese rice bowl that I originally came across while watching these ASMR videos of mom and pop restaurants in Japan. So I figured I'd give it a little upgrade with an Iberico pork chop and an overnight brine to really take it to the next level of luxuriousness. Iberico is to pork sort of like how wagyu is to beef. It's a special breed of pig that comes from Spain and Portugal, and it's renowned for its great marbling and tenderness because it has a diet that's super rich in acorns. This one came with the bone on, so I'm just going to trim it up so we can just have the lean section. I'll be roasting the parts that we're not using for a little snack to share with an old friend. I'm also going to trim up any excessive fat along the edge, but we still want to keep a bit on there because it's got great flavor. Once we're all trimmed up, I'm just going to get a generous pinch of salt onto both sides. Think of this like our overnight pickle brine for some fried chicken. Using a rack like this is a great way to dry out the surface for a nice sear if you were going to be cooking this in a pan. But since we're going to be breading this and frying it, it's not critical that you use a rack today. Now we're done for the night. All that's left to do is read your favorite book and try your best to not let your porky eagerness distract you too much. And just like that, we made it to the next evening. Now, the don in katsudon refers to a bowl of rice, so we're going to prep our rice now. I'm using a Japanese short grain rice. It's by far the best rice to use for this, but like I always say, use what you got. And I'm using a rice cooker today, but if you don't have one, I just soak it for 20 minutes or so in a 1 to 1 1/4 rice to water ratio, then bring it to a boil and reduce it to a simmer for 12 to 15 minutes. Kill the heat, let it steam for another 5 to 10 minutes, and you should be good to go. For me, I'm just gonna fill it up to the 2-cup water mark, then I'll just get it into the rice cooker and hit the white rice setting. I also like to add a little piece of kombu for an umami boost. Now we're on to our dashi. To start off, I'm getting 250 milliliters of water into a pot with about a 5-gram piece of kombu. Kombu is a sea kelp that's a source of natural MSG, and it's part of what makes dashi broths so savory and addicting. It'll start to soften and rehydrate as it starts to warm up in the water. We're just going to let this come to a boil for a few seconds before killing the heat and adding some bonito flakes, which are shaved flakes of tuna that have been fermented and smoked. It just has a really nice smoky and salty flavor. Let them sit for 5 to 7 minutes, and then we're going to strain them. I've heard people say if you're too rough with it or try to squeeze all the water out, it gets bitter, but I haven't tested that myself. And this is the whole dashi stock, but we're going to turn it into a more substantial broth for the final dish. This has a name, but I'm scared to pronounce it, so put it in a comment down below if you know. We're going to add around 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, followed by 2 tablespoons of mirin, then 1 tablespoon or so of sake, and 2 teaspoons of sugar. I usually just eyeball these, but I figured these were roughly the amounts, so I'll leave the full recipe in the description down below in case anything changes. Alright, I probably should have taken this out a little bit earlier, but let's see how our pork is doing. It's absorbed all the salt, the surface isn't overly dried, and it's nice and tender. We did well here. I'm going to add a few pinches of salt to our panko breadcrumbs, and the breading process here is pretty simple. We're just going to start off by getting a light layer of flour around our pork chop, and I'm just using a regular all-purpose flour here. This isn't quite the same as making fried chicken. We're not going to be using multiple dips in the egg batter or trying to get lots of craggy, floury textures on this. We're just looking to get a nice, even coating of everything. Once it's fully coated in the egg, the final stage is to get it into our panko breadcrumbs. Panko is more light and flaky than regular breadcrumbs, and they're a bit more coarse. Most grocery stores carry them these days, and you can usually find them near the Asian foods or in the baking section. When it looks something like this, you're good to go. We're going straight into 350 degree Fahrenheit oil to account for some droppage, and any neutral high smoke point oil will do. We want to fry this as closely to 325 or so as we can because it's a bit thick and we want the interior to have a chance to cook before the outside gets overly browned. If you wind up with any light spots, just carefully baste them with oil, or you can fry in a larger Dutch oven so it can fully submerge. I'll take this out at around 140 degrees Fahrenheit internally to account for some carryover cooking. While that rests, we're going to get a little bit of prep for the final assembly of the rice bowl. I'm just going to slice up a large yellow onion. Then we'll beat 2 eggs. You can also add a bit of salt in at this stage or pre-combine them with a few tablespoons of the dashi broth. That'll help keep them a bit more tender once they go in, but I actually forgot here. Alright, so we're going to get the onion into a shallow pan with our broth. Again, I'm kind of eyeballing the amounts here, but I'm going to calculate everything and leave it in the written description down below. Basically, our goal here is to get a little head start with the onions. I personally like to let them get a little bit soft and remove any oniony bite from them. In the meantime, let's just appreciate our beautifully tender Iberico pork for a second. And because things happen quick from this point, I'm going to fluff up our rice and get it into a bowl, ready to receive all of our porky goodness. So our broth has reduced a little bit, our onions are soft, and now we can get our pork back in there. This isn't the kind of dish where we're looking to get an ultra crispy end result with the pork. The fry stage is almost more of a way to get the flavors from the broth to soak in. I'm also adding the egg in at 2 different stages for a nice variation in texture. By the way, if you've been digging the background music, I write it all myself, and it's available on streaming platforms under the artist name Jandre FM. And you can download the files for free on my Patreon. No sign up required. As of now, I don't have any sponsors on this channel, but on Patreon, I'll be posting additional recipes, videos, music, and more. So please consider supporting my content with a membership. I'll leave a link down below. All right, look at that. The beauty of this whole dish is that if you get the ratios right, the egg really combines with the broth for a super unique texture. Like, it becomes almost a custardy sauce that flavors the rice without cooking it to the point where you can't use chopsticks. They also make specific pans for this for easier plating, but my kitchen is at capacity for cookware. Final stage, I'm gonna top it with some togarashi, which is a Japanese chili powder with some spices like orange peel and some sesame seeds. Then I'll just top it with a parsley leaf for presentation because I couldn't find any mitsuba. And there it is, the best rice bowl and the best pork in the world. Great combo. All right, let's see how it is. The pork is incredibly tender and juicy, and somehow through all the sauce and steam, maintained even just a little bit of crisp. The rice and egg combo is so savory from the dashi. This is a weeknight staple here. Hopefully it becomes one of yours. All right, we did it. Give a like, subscribe. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.